Hi kids, today you're joining me for Horton Hears a Who by Dr. Suess Part 2. If you haven't had a chance to check out Part 1, head over to the previous video on my Instagram page or on YouTube where you'll find Part 1. Part 2 of Horton Hears a Who. All that late afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight, while Horton chased after with groans over stones that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, "Please don't harm all my little folk, who have as much right to live as us bigger folk do." But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping, and over his shoulder called back, "Quit your yapping! I'll fly the night through. I'm a bird, I don't mind it, and I'll hide this tomorrow, where you'll never find it." At 6:56 the next morning he did it. It sure was a terrible place that he hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers, 100 miles wide. "Find that," sneered the bird, "but I think you will fail," and he left with a flap of his black-bottomed tail. "I'll find it," cried Horton. "I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on that small speck of dust." And clover by clover by clover with care, he picked up and searched them and called, "Are you there?" But clover by clover by clover he found that the one that he sought for was just not around. And by noon poor old Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched and piled up 9,005. Then on through the afternoon, hour after hour, till he found them at last, on the 3,000,000th flower. "My friends!" cried the elephant. "Tell me, do tell, are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well?" From down on the speck came the voice of the mare. "We've really had trouble, much more than our share. When the black-bottomed birdie let go and we dropped, we landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chairs smashed, and our bicycle tires all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please," pleaded that voice of the mare's, "will you stick by us Whos while we're making repairs?" "Of course," Horton answered, "of course I will stick. I'll stick by you small folks, through thin and through thick." "Humph!" humped a voice. "For almost 2 days you've run wild and insisted on chatting with persons you've never existed. Such carryings on in our preachable jungle. We've had quite enough of your bellowing bungle. And I'm here to state," snapped the big kangaroo, "that your silly nonsensical game is all through." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too." With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws, whose help I've engaged, you're going to be roped, and you're going to be caged. And as for your dust speck, ha! that we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of bezel nut oil. "Boil it!" gasped Horton. "Oh, that you can't do. It's all full of persons. They'll prove it to you." "Mr. Mayor! Mr. Mayor!" Horton called. "Mr. Mayor, you've got to prove now that you really are there. So call a big meeting, get everyone out. Make every who holler, make every who shout. Make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in a bezel nut stew." And down on the dust speck, the scared little mare quick called a big meeting in Whoville Town Square, and his people cried loudly. They cried out in fear, "We are here! We are here! We are here! We are here!" The elephant smiled. That was clear as a bell. You kangaroos surely heard that very well. "All I heard," snapped the big kangaroo, "was the breeze and the faint sound of wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voices, and you didn't either." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me neither." "Grab him," they shouted, "and cage the big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the knots tight so he'll never shake loose. Then dunk that dumb speck in the beetle-nut juice." Horton fought back with great vigour and vim, but the Wickersham gang was too many for him. They beat him, they mauled him, they started to haul him into his cage. But he managed to call to the mare, "Don't give up, I believe in you all. A person's a person, no matter how small. And you very small persons will not have to die if you make yourselves heard. So come on now and try!" The mare grabbed a tom-tom. He started to smack it, and all over Whoville they whooped up a racket. They rattled tin kettles, they beat on brass pans, on garbage pail tops and old cranberry cans. They blew on bazookas and blasted great toots, on clarinet umpas and bumpers and flutes. Great gusts of loud racket ran high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mare called up through the howling mad hullabaloo, "Hey Horton, how's this? Is our sound coming through?" And Horton called back, "I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as quite strong as mine. They don't hear a thing. Are you sure all your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who down in Whoville is working? Quick, look through your town. Is there anybody shirking?" Through the town rushed the mare, from the east to the west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be bipping or bipping. But it wasn't enough, all this rucks and roar. He had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building. He searched floor to floor. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere and almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door, and that mare discovered one shirker quite hidden away in the Fairfax Apartments, apartment 12J. A very small shirker named Jojo was standing, just standing, and bouncing a yo-yo, not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp. And the mare rushed inside, and he grabbed the young twerp. And he climbed with the lad up the Eiffelberg Tower. "This," cried the mare, "is your town's darkest hour. The time for all who have blood that is red to come to the aid of their country," he said. "We've got to make noises in greater amounts, so open your mouth, lad, for every voice counts." Thus he spoke as he climbed. When they got to the top, the lad cleared his throat, and he shouted out, "Yop!" And that yop, that one small extra yop, put it over. Finally, at last, from that speck on the clover, their voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean. And the elephant smiled. "Do you see what I mean? They've proved they are persons, no matter how small, and their whole world was saved by the smallest of all." "How true!" "Yes, how true," said the big kangaroo. "And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do. From now on, I'm going to protect them with you. And the youngest kangaroo in her pouch said, Me too. From sun in the summer, from rain when it's fallish, I'm going to protect them, no matter how smallish. What a fun story with some very tricky sentences and words. I hope you enjoyed that, kids, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, bye!